is Joe. These are just opinions. I am Joepinionated. Today's episode, I'm my top 25 albums for the year 1994. Top 25 best albums from 1994. On that channel, Tastes Like Music, Jason and Joe review, do deep dives into years. Did a deep dive into 1994 in the Discord. There wasn't a lot of new listens in this year for me. A few of them made the list though. I ranked them all in Rate Your Music. This is the results, top 25. Just outside of the list, let's go with 5 outside of the list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So from 30 to 25, the ones that didn't quite make the list but are also I have the albums ranked at 3.5 stars. Iris DeMent's My Life, Johnny Cash, American Recordings, that's his first one with Rick Rubin, Scarface, The Diary, Southern Playlistic Cadillac Music from Outkast, and Green Day's Dookie are just on the outside looking into the top 25, the 25 best from 1994. It started off number 25, going with 9 Inch Nails, The Downward Spiral, featuring Trent Reznor, Articus Ross, Richard Patrick, Chris Vrenna. I had the album ranked at 3.5 stars. Obviously one of their best albums. If you highlight 5-star songs, I had 4 of them on the album. Hurt, the one that was covered by Johnny Cash, Reptile, Piggy, and Closer. I Wanna You Like an Animal, that song. I mean, this is a groundbreaking industrial rock album. Trent Reznor, is legendary at this point. Themes of despair, destruction, self-destruction, addiction, complex production, aggressive instrumentals. This album solidified 9 Inch Nails in music history. The Downward Spiral. Number 24 for 1994, I'm going with Live. 25 best albums of 94. Live, Throwing Copper. Live's one of those bands that gets forgotten about. Every single album they did was actually great. Throwing Copper, easily their biggest album. That's Ed Kowalczyk, Chad Gracie, Patrick Dahlheimer, and Christian, the big song Lightning Crashes. It's a powerful blend of alternative rock and a post-grunge sound with Kowalczyk's great voice and lyrics kind of setting the scene for an epic album. I Alone, probably be my favorite song on the album, but Selling the Drama, another great one. And Lightning Crashes is the huge hit. In number 23, 25 best albums from 1994, I'm going with Bush, 16 Stone, Gavin Rossdale, Nigel Pulsford, Dave Parsons, Robin Goodridge. The big hit off of this one was Glycerine. This album is what solidified Bush in the rock and roll scene as well. So many hits. Gavin Rossdale's got a very unique voice. He's a great front man. I remember at Woodstock 99, the first night, that was a real, obviously a standout, great performance. Post-grunge is what they call this, right? Alternative rock, post-grunge. Bush is definitely one of the leaders of that genre. Okay, next up, their second album, Stone Temple Pilots' second album, Purple. That's Scott Weiland, Dean DeLeo, Robert DeLeo, Eric Kretz. Big hit off the album was the Interstate Love Song. The first couple Stone Temple Pilot albums are incredibly important to me. Great albums. Standout tracks for me, Vaseline, Interstate Love Song, and Pretty Penny. I like Pretty Penny. Stone Temple Pilots. Next up, also got this album at 3.5 stars. We're going with Blues Traveler 4. Never guessed it. It's their 4th album. So Blues Traveler, lead man John Popper, crazy on harmonica, great voice. Chan Chichla, Bobby Sheehan, Brendan Hill, and Ben Wilson. Brendan Hill on the drums, great underrated drummer. The big standout track for me is Hook. And Runaround, I think, was a bigger hit. Hook is just such an infectious hook. Incredible melody on this song. Blues Traveler, the real sound of the 90s kind of thing. There was a lot of imitations of Blues Traveler. Blues Traveler was an original band, probably their biggest album. It's actually not my favorite Blues Traveler album. I prefer one a little bit later on, but we'll get to that when that year comes. Runaround, I had it 5. Hook, and Just Wait. Just Wait's probably one of my favorite songs on the album. Next up, and it's our last 3.5 star album on this list, I have Gangstar, Hard to Earn. So Gangstar, rap group with Guru, and DJ is DJ Premier, who is, obviously one of the best DJs ever. And he also produces on this. Premier on some pretty big albums this year. We mentioned him a few more times as this list goes on. Hard to Earn, The Mass Appeal is the song that always stuck with me. It's the biggest hit on the album as far as I know. DJ Premier, his beats, Gangstar, the DJ for Gangstar. This is a big album for Gangstar and for DJ Premier, and now we're going into 4-star territory for 1994. The first 4-star appearance is actually a live album from a couple guys from England, Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. The album is No Quarter, Unledded. They had Michael Lee on drums, Charlie Jones on bass, Pearl Thompson on guitars and keyboards, the Egyptian Philharmonic Orchestra. You've heard of these guys before. Check out our Desert Island playlist episode for Led Zeppelin on this channel. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. There's hundreds of episodes on this channel. Desert Island playlist is a fun one where we draft our Desert Island playlist. You can't take the same song twice as another guy. And there was 3 of us in that one. First 4-star album of the year is a live album from these guys. 18th best album of 1994 comes from one of the big 4 from the grunge scene, Pearl Jam, with Vitalogy. This is their 3rd album. Eddie Vedder, Stone Gossard, Jeff Ament on bass, Mike McCready lead guitars, and Matt Cameron on drums. Check out as well, we have a Desert Island playlist episode for Pearl Jam on this channel. Well, I guess it's my 3rd favorite Pearl Jam album. The first 3 albums to me are like almost perfect. All 3 of them, love them start to finish. After that is when I start to, there's some songs I'll skip. Highlights from this album, Corduroy, Better Man, Can't Find a Better Man, Last Exit, Not For You, and Whipping. We'll stop there. I saw it too on one of those Pearl Jam groups I was in on Facebook that they have, the cover is based off of an old book called Vitalogy. And you can buy that book in bookstores and stuff like that. It's pretty cool to have on the wall if you're a big Pearl Jam fan. 17th best album of 1994 is actually technically an EP, and I'm going with Alice in Chains, another one of the big 4 grunge scene, 1994. This is Jar of Flies. I have it at 4 stars. It's actually my favorite Alice in Chains album, whatever you want to call it. And it has my favorite Alice in Chains song, period, which is I Stay Away. That's always been my favorite one of theirs. So epic, beautiful. Jerry Cantrell and Lane Staley, their harmonies are special because they're really the only group to be doing this from the grunge scene. They've got 2 singers. Number 17, Alice in Chains, Jar of Flies. And number 16, best album from 1994 is Jeff Buckley's Grace. It's the consensus number 1. Jeff Buckley's Grace is an incredible album, and it's number 1 on many of my close friends. Good on ya. I wasn't into this album until later, so I think if I had really gotten into it when I was a bit younger, I might have connected with it more. His version of Hallelujah is definitely my favorite version of Hallelujah. Incredible singer and guitar player. Incredible tone. Incredible loss when he died. I'm pretty sure he drowned. Grace, I love the title track. Grace, Last Goodbye. My favorite song on the album is actually Eternal Life. So that's from Jeff Buckley. That's number 16. Number 15 on the best albums of 1994. I'm going with Seal's second album, Seal 2, as it's known. I don't think it actually has, I think it's just self-titled again. Jason Miles, Dave Stuart Matthewman, and Seal on lead vocals and guitar. Unique blend of soul, pop, and R&B. After the song Kiss from a Rose is featured in Batman Forever, it was like the hit of the year, is the biggest song of the year, or one of them. He got Grammy nods for this album. This was, this really put him over the edge. Don't Cry is a great track. Kiss from a Rose, People Asking Why, and I'm Alive are my favorite tracks from that album. Number 15, Seal's second album from 1994. Number 14 comes from Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, Let Love In. Martin Casey on bass, Thomas Wilder on drums, Warren Ellis on violin, keyboards, Blixa Bargold on guitar, Mick Harvey, guitar and keyboards, Nick Cave, piano, guitar, and lead vocals. This one goes out to my dear friend Mark, and he was a singer of Live Jimmy Presley, passed away earlier this year. He's definitely the person that got me into this guy. And many other groups, but he especially loved Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. And so very sentimental favorite of mine. My favorite tracks, Red Right Hand, that was the one in Dumb and Dumber. I Let Love In. Also Lay Me Low is probably my favorite song on the album. Number 14, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, Let Love In. All right, number 13 from 1994's best albums of the year. Number 13, I'm going with Pink Floyd, The Division Bell. This is post Roger Waters, so this is the second and really last album without Roger Waters, or before Richard Wright passed away. It's basically the last Pink Floyd album. Some people might say that the Final Cut is the last Pink Floyd album because there's no Roger Waters on this one, or The Division, or Momentary Lapse. Anyways, this one has Dave Gilmour, Nick Mason on drums, Richard Wright on keyboard, and a bunch of other people kind of filling in the gaps. The production quality on Division Bell is like top notch, the best since The Wall for them. And the songwriting is the best since The Wall for Pink Floyd, really. Highlight songs for me, What Do You Want From Me? I've got it 5-star. Take It Back, 5-star. Keep Talking, 5-star. And High Hopes, 5-star. And I do like the Lost for Words, his song to Roger Waters. Pink Floyd, can't go wrong. Number 13 for 1994's greatest albums, best albums. And number 12 for best albums of 1994, I'm going with the Notorious B.I.G's debut, Ready to Die, featuring the Notorious B.I.G., DJ Premier, Lil' Kim, P. Diddy, and Jadakiss, and other guests, but featuring the Notorious B.I.G., Christopher Wallace, Biggie Smalls, greatest rapper of all time. Best flow, period. Nobody comes close. I don't give a shit what anybody says. He's the greatest ever. No doubt, the best. The GOAT. The top of Rushmore as far as rappers go. I mean, okay. Anyways, we've gotten into this Rushmore conversation every time I get into rappers. Biggie is definitely on my Rushmore. And Chuck D is on my Rushmore as well, and then the rest are all, it's really difficult for me after that. Highlight tracks on Ready to Die, Give Me the Loot, Warning, Juicy, Big Papa, Unbelievable, and Suicidal Thoughts. I think my favorite song on the album is probably Warning. I like Warning. But Give Me the Loot is pretty dope too. Number 12, Biggie's Ready to Die. Number 11, best albums 1994. We're in 4.5-star territory. Sorry, I don't know if I mentioned that. Since Pink Floyd, we're in 4.5-star territory for myself. Number 11, we're going with Weezer's debut, the Blue Album, self-titled, Weezer. That's Matt Sharp, Brian Bell, Patrick Wilson, and Rivers Cuomo. I've had a Weezer episode in the works on this channel, so I will be doing my top 10 or 20 Weezer tracks. Yeah, I love Weezer. I'm a Weezer fan. I like it all the whole way through. I think they're great songwriters. They're really good live. I've seen them live, and I love nothing more but to watch some live Weezer, even like the latest tours on YouTube. They're fantastic musicians, great songwriters. Weezer. Highlights from this album, the whole thing's awesome. But My Name is Jonas, Buddy Holly, the Sweater song is dope. Say It Ain't So, In the Garage. This album is just packed tight with rad songs. Buddy Holly, the music video, is what really got it going for Weezer. Too cool, that Happy Days throwback. That was a big deal at the time. We're in the top 10 best albums for 1994. Number 10, Another band I've featured on this channel before, the top 20 songs all time for R.E.M. Number 10, I'm going with R.E.M's Monster. I realize it's not exact, like for R.E.M. Faithful, this is not the number one album for them, but for me, it might be my number one R.E.M. album. And this was the album that really got me into R.E.M., so that's part of it. I've got a lot of core memories with this album. Bill Berry on drums, Mike Mills on bass and keyboards, Peter Buck, guitar and backing vocals, and Michael Stipe on lead vocals. They're from, I think, Athens, Georgia. Is that right? I'm pretty sure they're from Athens, Georgia. Highlights for me on this album. It's crazy is that show The Bear ended up using my favorite song on the album, or one of my favorite songs, Strange Currencies, as the soundtrack for season 2. And like I said, check out my channel. My favorite songs on the album are What's the Frequency, Kenneth, Crush with Eyeliner, and Strange Currencies, Bang and Blame. I think this one is underrated by R.E.M. super fans, but what the hell do I know? 4.5 stars. Number 10 is R.E.M. Monster. Number 9 comes from another artist that's been featured on this channel, multiple episodes, Desert Island Playlist, as well as we even reviewed their new album and on Spin or Bin. Also, I've done my top 20 songs for the Black Crowes. 1994's album is Amorica. So Amorica has Mark Ford on rhythm guitar, or whatever you want to call it. Chris Robinson, Rich Robertson, Sven Pippian. Who else on this one? Eddie Harsh on the keys. Steve Gorman on the drums. Forgive me if I'm missing anybody. 4.5 stars. Quite a few great songs on it. A Conspiracy. She Gave Good Sunflowers, a personal favorite of mine. P25 London, another favorite of mine. Wiser Time, Descending. I mean, it's chock full of hits the whole way through. Amorica, a really great, standout album for me anyways with these guys, Amorica. Number 8 for 1994, we move into 5-star territory for me. So we've got 8 5-star albums for 1994. The first one, this is their 4th album, comes from Soundgarden, another one of the big 4, grunge scene, Seattle scene. Their album in 94 is Superunknown. That's Matt Cameron on drums, so he's double duty with Pearl Jam at this point. Ben Shepherd on bass, Kim Thale on lead guitar, and Chris Cornell on lead vocals and rhythm guitar. For me, this is really my introduction. I wasn't like a huge fan of Bad Motorfinger at this point. I was still pretty young. Superunknown, extremely important to me. It's a 5-star album, no question in my mind. I've got a ton of 5-star ratings on this one. My Wave, Fell on Black Days, Superunknown, Head Down, Black Hole Sun, Spoon Man, Limo Wreck, love Limo Wreck. The Day I Tried to Live, 4th of July, and Like Suicide. Yeah, I'd probably go Limo Wreck. Now I've got my top 20 songs on this channel as well, so like and subscribe and check those out. Yeah, one of the saddest days ever for me anyways was when Chris Cornell died, as far as celebrity deaths go, or being affected by something like that. Chris Cornell, MCA from Beastie Boys, and Gord Downie from the Tragically Hip are probably the 3 that hit me the hardest as far as musicians go. Superunknown, number 8, 1994. Let's go. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Another 5-star album from 1994. This album features who I just mentioned, Adam Yout, MC8, Ad Rock, Adam Horowitz, and Mike D, Michael Diamond. That's the Beastie Boys. Their album from 1994 is Ill Communication, 5 stars all day long. This is a pop, rock and rap, or punk rap. Beastie Boys are a punk group to begin with. I've got Beastie Boys episodes on this channel. Check it out. I believe it's my top 20 songs ranked there. Might be 15. Love Beastie Boys. They got started off with Rick Rubin and and then left Def Jam and did their own thing. Worked with the Dust Brothers on their second album. Then this one and Check Your Head, I believe, were recorded at the same time in their studio out in, I want to say LA, maybe somewhere out there. This was the album that got me really into the Beastie Boys. I knew Girls. I knew a few of their songs, obviously Fight for the Right to Party. But, this is around the time I'm really sort of getting into music and into my own music. And the first side of Ill Communication, every song, I know every word. And some of my favorite tracks are... I like the instrumentals too. So they're playing instruments on this one. Sabrosa, I really love that as an instrumental. Crashed a Vehicle once, listening to that song. Sabotage is one of the best songs ever. It's easily the best rock rap song of all time. Root Down and videos. Spike Jonze used to do their videos, really cool. Root Down, amazing track. B-Boys making with the Freak. I love it. Tough Guy, Sure Shot. But my favorite song on the album is Get It Together with Q-Tip. And it's almost like a freestyle fun song. Great track. 5-star album all day long. Number 7, Beastie Boys, Ill Communication. The 6th best album of 1994. Another hip-hop album. Another DJ Premier featured album. One of the greatest hip-hop albums of all time. Nas, Illmatic. Once again, did I already say greatest hip-hop albums of all time in this video? Probably. 1994 has some of the best hip-hop albums of all time. I didn't actually get into Illmatic till, 10 years ago now, I guess. Maybe even less than that. So I was totally late to this party. What it was actually was Dave Chappelle was talking about this album because when he first came back after his years of hiding or whatever, he was doing some shows. I believe it was at the Radio City Music Hall, and he was on Letterman talking about it, and he said that it was the 20th anniversary. So, yeah, it would have been 2014 or 30th of Illmatic, and he called it possibly the greatest hip-hop album of all time. I heard that, like, man, I love Dave Chappelle. And he's saying this on Letterman. I got to go listen to this right now. And I listened to New York State of Mind. I was like, how did I not know this? And then I listened to the album, constantly. I do that with albums. Where, if I like it a bit, I just listen to it nonstop for a while. And I love this album. I can't wait to go listen to this album once I'm done making this episode. But so Q-Tip's on the album, DJ Premier, Pete Rock, Large Professor, highlights. New York State of Mind is such a cool track. The flow, the beats, I literally have every song except for the opening Genesis as 5 stars. My favorites are Represent, One Time for Your Mind, Halftime, and New York State of Mind. Those would be, I guess, if I had to pick favorites, those would be the ones. Number 5, greatest albums, or the best albums of 1994. 5-star album again, comes from Nirvana. I'm going with the live, Unplugged live in New York. I think that's MTV Unplugged. So it's a live album. It's not a real album. It's kind of cheating, but there's a lot of really cool covers on this that got me and many into all these other songs. Now, this album, from what I remember, was really peaking around the time that Kurt Cobain died. And I remember in Canada, About a Girl was, I believe, still number 1 on the countdown. And they had to show on the music video, or Much Music is our MTV. They had a show called Combat d'Eclipse, where you'd be like the champion video, and then there'd be a new challenger that they'd have to put up against it. And About a Girl was the champion video for the longest of any video I ever remember seeing on that show, partially because Kurt Cobain had passed away, As far as live albums go, I mean, this has got to be one of the best ever. This was the best of the Unplugged series, and MTV Unplugged was fantastic, and there was a lot of really good ones, a lot of them. And from even like Rod Stewart's one I loved. All over the map, different genres and stuff like that. This is easily my favorite, and I think most people's favorite. About a Girl was a song that I didn't know because I didn't have Bleach, and I wasn't the biggest Nirvana fan. I kind of liked all three of the other big four from Seattle more. That's changed over time, like I get it. Like these guys are awesome. It's just at the time they were like kind of the super popular band. Come As You Are. He does David Bowie's The Man Who Sold the World. That was huge. Such a great version of that. The version on here of Dumb is incredible. On a Plane. Something in the Way. And then you get to the end. And the last three tracks are incredible too. Lake of Fire. Oh, so good. All Apologies. And Where'd You Sleep Last Night? Some old blues songs and such an emotional live album, really well made, and in a time of crisis for this incredible artist. Obviously, Chris Novoselic and Dave Grohl, you ever heard of him? Out there, as well as Pat Smear playing guitar in that one with that red, white, and blue guitar. Number four, the fourth best album in 1994. I'm going with the debut album from the Dave Matthews Band, Under the Table and Dreaming. This is such a powerful record. So Dave Matthews, lead singer, lead guitar, Carter Beaufort on the drums, one of the best drummers in the world, Stephen Lessard on the bass, Leroy Moore on the saxophone, rest in peace, Leroy, and Boyd Tinsley, who is no longer in the group. He played the violin. Dave Matthews Band, a real love it or hate it group. Some people can't stand his voice. He does sound a little bit like Adam Sandler sometimes, doing his goofy, oh, well, red hooded sweatshirt, that sort of stuff. But yeah, Under the Table and Dreaming, very important album for me. Some close friends around the block showed me Dave Matthews. Favorite songs on the album, What Would You Say? Rhyme and Reason, Typical Situation, Dancing Nancy's, Ants Marching, Pay for What You Get, and Jimmy Thing. I do, like I said, I've got 2 episodes on this channel as well for greatest Dave Matthews Band songs. And this one's chock full of them. The whole album's great. Also, side note, the vinyls for like the records, the pressings, they're numbered, are so great for Dave Matthews Band. So I suggest buying their wax. Number 4, Dave Matthews, Under the Table and Dreaming, Dave Matthews Band. Third best album in 1994 here on Joepinionated List on the Joepinionated channel. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know where I screw up and all that sort of stuff. Going with Tom Petty's Wildflowers, produced by Rick Rubin. Now, a bunch of the Heartbreakers are on this album. So Scott Thurston, Howie Epstein, Benmont Tench, Mike Campbell, Tom Petty. I love the Rick Rubin, Tom Petty albums. I've got, many episodes on Tom Petty on this channel as well. I've got the top 30 songs. And my favorite period of Tom Petty is Wilburys until probably Highway Companion, and everything in the middle there. That's my period. I'm not as big on the 70s stuff and the early 80s stuff as I am till later on. That's just me. I worked construction for many years. Tom Petty is on the radio once an hour, pretty much. So a lot of those old songs, The Waiting and American Girl, are just played nonstop. Calling Back to You, House in the Woods, Don't Fade on Me, Honeybee, Only a Broken Heart, It's Good to Be King, You Wreck Me, Time to Move On, You Don't Know How It Feels, and Wildflowers. So pretty much the first, what do I got? First like 8 or 9 songs I have all at 5 stars. Beautiful album, many layers to it. Listen closely, as pretty as they come. Wildflowers, third best album of 1994. Second best album of 1994 comes from these guys, Wean, Chocolate and Cheese, dedicated to John Candy, who also passed away in 1994. Rest in peace, Canadian icon, legend, John Candy. Many John Candy episodes on this channel too, on Radflix. That's where we do movie reviews. Love John Candy. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, one of my favorite movies ever. And Wean. Wean is probably my favorite band ever. So this is a homer pick. This is, I love these guys. I'm going to put them really high, and it's a very important album for me. One of their best albums, in my opinion. Who's Wean? It's Dean and Gene Wean, Mickey and Aaron Freeman, Mickey Malchiando, Claude Coleman, Glenn McClelland, and Dave Drywitz. But Gene and Dean are the force behind Wean. This album celebrated its 30th anniversary this year. There's supposed to be a big concert out in Philadelphia, but unfortunately they're on hiatus now. Dean Wean's going through some stuff, and it is what it is. But you know what? He owes us nothing. He's literally like the greatest celebrity to his fans ever. He's the best. And very cool, anti-pretentious. A lot of people, think that Wean is irritating and stuff like that. A part of their original objective was honestly to be obnoxious. They're incredible musicians. They've written hundreds of great songs. Every song is different from the last. They never just settle into a sound and go with it for 20 years. Like every song is different from the last. There's no rehashing old ideas. They're funny. They are anti-pretentious. Like that's, they don't take themselves too seriously. They love music, but it's like, I don't know. It's perfect for me. It just really represents how I am and how I live my life. And highlights on this one: "Tear for Eddie," which is a sweet tribute to Eddie Hazel from Funkadelic. "Roses Are Free," "Baby Bitch," "Voodoo Lady," "Don't Shit Where You Eat," what Junior was talking about, and "Buenos Tardes, Amigo," "Voodoo Lady." Wean, Chocolate and Cheese comes in at number 2, best album for 1994. And the number 1 album from 1994 is from the Tragically Hip, Day for Night, 5 stars all day long. The best album of 1994 from the Tragically Hip. Lead singer Gord Downie, Robbie Baker on lead guitar, Gord Sinclair on bass, Johnny Fay on drums, and Paul Langlois on rhythm guitar and main backing vocals, him and Gord Sinclair. This is probably my favorite Tragically Hip album. Many Tragically Hip episodes on this channel. They just did a documentary on Amazon Prime recently. If you don't know who the Tragically Hip are, check out that documentary. It's really well made. It's 4 parts, made by Gord's brother, Mike. Gord passed away a few years ago now, like 2017. Yeah, easily the hardest celebrity death that I've ever experienced, for sure. First concert I ever went to was a Tragically Hip. I saw them 10 times. The lead singer, like I said, passed away. They did a cross-country tour with the final show being watched by 1 out of 3 Canadians. A third of the nation tuned in to their final concert, live stream from Kingston, Ontario, their hometown. Day for Night, I'm trying to think of, people that had their favorite hip album. I think that Day for Night, Trouble at the Hen House, Fully Completely, Road Apples, Up to Here, those are kind of the 5 big ones. And for me, I'm pretty sure it's Day for Night. Check out our Desert Island playlist episode for Tragically Hip. We have 5 people drafting their Desert Island playlist. You can't pick the same song twice. It's a great episode. Songs: Grace 2, So Hard Done By, Nautical Disaster, Thugs, Titanic, Terrarium, They're all standouts for me, all 5-star songs for me. If you're American, you've never heard of these guys, a lot of people say they remind them a little bit of R.E.M. The vocals do sometimes remind me a little bit of Michael Stipe. I think that Gord Downey's a way better singer and obviously a better poet. The lyrics are incredible, like some of the best lyrics ever, like John Prine level incredible. I'm giving some love to the Tragically Hip, #1 album of 1994. You know, in the history of albums, is the Tragically Hip's Day for Night. So I just want to thank you for making it this far. If you're still watching, remember to comment below. Let me know which of your favorites I missed, and I'd be happy to discuss that with you. And not a lot of other stuff that I missed, really. Marilyn Manson, Boredoms, Bonnie Raitt had a great album that year, Jamiroquai, Cranberries, Offspring, Smash, Oasis, Beck, Mellow Gold, probably my least favorite Beck, Blur, Parklife, overrated, boring, the Rolling Stones, Voodoo Lounge. All right, we'll see you in the comments for that Blur Parklife mention, and like, comment, subscribe. I'm sorry I'm a little low on facts and high on opinions. See you on the next one.
Submerged at sea, days and weeks at a time. 96 million pounds of steel go swimming by. I see your eyes surveying in the mirror on the tide. Am I overstating this need to make it right? 'Cause I know the reason why you hide beneath the waves. I'll keep on waiting, I'm counting down the days. We spin the air and waste the words the mind recites, no one ever heard. Good night again to this lonesome crew. Is it over so? There's value in the truth.